Amaka was tired that evening. Lagos had drained her spirit. The heat, the long walk from class, the noisy streets, everything weighed her down. All she wanted was to reach her hostel room, drop her bag, and sleep. The corridor was quiet, too quiet for a place usually filled with laughter, arguments, and gossip. She adjusted her bag on her shoulder, dragging her slippers lazily on the tiled floor. Then she saw it, a small paper, folded neatly, lying right in the middle of the hallway. She bent down slowly, thinking, maybe it was someone's torn note from class. But when she opened it, her hands froze. 4 words were written in bold red ink. Don't trust your roommate. Her heart skipped. She looked around instantly. The corridor was empty. The doors were shut. A strange chill ran down her spine, even though the evening was hot. She read it again, her breath unsteady. The handwriting wasn't familiar. The ink looked fresh, and the words, too specific. Amaka swallowed hard. She whispered to herself, what kind of joke is this? Her hands shook as she folded the note back. She wanted to laugh it off, to throw it in the bin, to tell herself it meant nothing. But deep inside, a heavy fear settled in her chest. She could almost hear her heartbeat in the silence of that corridor. Amaka didn't know it yet, but her life had just taken a sharp turn, one she could never escape from. Amaka forced a smile as she tucked the folded paper deep into her notebook. Don't trust your roommate. It sounded ridiculous, like something out of a cheap movie. She told herself she wouldn't think about it again. But that night, when the lights went off and the hostel slipped into silence, the words returned. She lay on her narrow bed, staring at the ceiling fan that squeaked as it turned slowly. Every creak, every shuffle in the corridor, every whisper of wind against the window sounded louder than usual. It was as if the entire building had come alive just to mock her fear. Cynthia, her roommate, was unusually cheerful. She hummed a song while brushing her hair, talking about random things Amaka didn't care about. She laughed too much, her voice cutting through the silence like a sharp knife. Amaka studied her from the corner of her eye. Cynthia's smile looked wider tonight, her tone lighter, but something about it felt forced, almost like she was hiding something. When Cynthia finally climbed into bed, Amaka turned her back and shut her eyes. But sleep refused to come. Her mind replayed the warning again and again. Don't trust your roommate. She tightened her blanket around her body. Her heartbeat was louder than the ticking clock on the wall. She kept telling herself she was overreacting. Then it happened. A soft sound. The faintest creak of floorboards. Amaka's eyes shot open. She held her breath, listening carefully. The noise came again, like slow, careful footsteps inside the room. Her body froze. She wanted to turn to look, but fear pinned her down. Was it Cynthia? Or was her mind playing tricks? Amaka stayed awake till dawn, her eyes wide open, the note burning in her memory like fire. The next morning, Amaka struggled to stay awake in class. Her eyes were heavy from the sleepless night. As soon as lectures ended, she dragged her feet back to the hostel, hoping to rest. But the moment she opened the door, Cynthia jumped up from her bed with an unusual excitement. Amaka, you're back. Please don't go for afternoon class today, Cynthia said, her voice too sweet, her smile too wide. Let's just stay indoors, cook noodles, gist, maybe even sleep. I beg, today no be day for class. Amaka frowned. Cynthia never cared about missing lectures before, but today she was unusually desperate. Her words sounded innocent, but her tone, it felt rehearsed, almost like she was hiding her true reason. Why should we stay? Amaka asked carefully, pretending to be casual. Cynthia laughed nervously. Nothing, nah. I just feel say today is not safe outside. Let's stay in. Amaka's chest tightened. The note's words screamed in her mind. Don't trust your roommate. She forced a smile, nodding slowly. Okay, you're right. I'll stay. But inside, her decision was already made. There was no way she would remain in that room. So when Cynthia went to the bathroom, Amaka quietly packed her books and slipped out of the hostel. Her footsteps echoed down the hall, her heart pounding fast. She didn't know what Cynthia was planning, but one thing was certain: she wouldn't be around to find out. Amaka sat in class, trying to focus on the lecturer's voice, but her mind kept drifting back to Cynthia's strange request. Why had she begged her to stay home? Hours passed. Then suddenly, her phone vibrated. Messages flooded her class group chat. Hostel don scatter. Police everywhere. Some girls missing. Confused, Amaka rushed outside with other students. Sirens wailed in the distance. She joined a crowd running toward the hostel. The moment she arrived, her legs nearly gave way. Police vans blocked the entrance. Officers with guns stormed the compound. Students were crying, shouting, pointing. A senior whispered, "Ritual boys invaded." They were targeting girls who stayed indoors. Some were taken before police arrived. Amaka's blood ran cold. She clutched her bag tightly, her whole body trembling. The note's warning replayed in her head. If she had listened to Cynthia, she would have been trapped inside. Her eyes scanned the crowd frantically, but Cynthia was nowhere to be found. Her bed, her books, her slippers, everything remained in the room. But Cynthia had vanished. Amaka stood frozen, her heart pounding. Relief and terror mixed inside her. The note had saved her life, but at what cost? Days passed, yet Cynthia didn't return. No one knew where she had gone. The hostel buzzed with rumors. Some said she had been taken, others whispered she ran away before the raid. But Amaka couldn't shake the truth in her heart. Cynthia had planned something, and the note had stopped it. Every night, she sat on her bed, staring at the folded slip of paper she kept hidden in her notebook. The handwriting was still sharp, the words still haunting. "Don't trust your roommate." Who had written it? Was it a friend? A stranger? Or someone she didn't even know? And why her? The questions never ended. Why warn her and no one else? Why save her life specifically? Amaka felt both grateful and terrified. Somewhere out there, someone was watching her. Someone cared enough to protect her, but also knew enough to see danger coming. And that thought scared her even more than the raid itself. Because if a stranger knew her every move, then her life was no longer her own. Don't write anything. It was past 8 p.m. when Amaka left her night class. The street lights flickered weakly, casting long shadows on the empty road. She clutched her books close, walking quickly, eager to get back to the hostel. Then she felt it, that unsettling feeling of eyes on her. She looked across the street and froze. A tall man stood under a broken street light, his face hidden in the shadows. He wasn't moving. He wasn't speaking. He was just staring. Amaka's steps quickened. She glanced back, pretending not to notice, but her heart thudded like a drum. The man didn't follow, he only watched. 2 days later, as she returned from the cafeteria, her blood ran cold. There he was again, leaning casually against a wall near the hostel gate. The same height, the same build, his face still hidden, his eyes still fixed on her. Amaka panicked. She rushed inside, slamming the door of her room shut behind her. Who was he? Why was he watching her? And how long had he been there? For the first time, Amaka realized danger wasn't just inside the hostel. It was outside too. Amaka decided to bury herself in books, hoping studying would distract her from fear. The university library was her only escape, quiet, filled with the smell of old paper and faint whispers of students flipping pages. She sat in the corner, her head bent over her notebook. Hours passed. She was almost at peace, until she felt a faint brush against her arm. She looked up. No one was there. Her eyes darted around. Everyone was busy with their work. But when she glanced down at her book, her stomach twisted. A folded piece of paper now rested between her pages. Her hands shook as she opened it. Written in the same bold red ink were 3 new words: "You're still not safe." Her throat tightened. She whipped her head around. Who had slipped it in? Was it the boy across the table? The girl shelving books? Or the man she saw at night? The silence of the library suddenly felt suffocating. Her breathing quickened. She wanted to scream, but fear locked her voice inside. Amaka stuffed the paper into her bag and hurried out. And as she left, she swore she heard it, a whisper in the air, faint but clear, like a warning only meant for her. 5 days after the raid, just when Amaka thought Cynthia was gone forever, the door creaked open one evening. And there she was. Cynthia walked in slowly, her skin pale, her eyes sunken, as if life had been drained out of her. Her voice was flat, her smile forced. "Amaka, I'm back," she whispered. Amaka jumped up in shock. "Where have you been? Do you know how worried?" Cynthia raised a hand sharply. "Please, I don't want to talk about it." She moved straight to her bed, lying down without another word. Amaka noticed her sleeves slipping up, revealing strange scars etched along her arm. Thin, deep, like cuts carved with purpose. Her chest tightened. She wanted to ask, to press for answers. But Cynthia's cold eyes warned her to stay silent. That night, as Cynthia slept, Amaka lay awake staring at her. Her roommate was back, but she wasn't the same person who left. Something had changed, something dark. Amaka's sleep that night was restless. She tossed, turned, drifted in and out of shallow dreams, until suddenly, she found herself standing in her late grandmother's compound. The old woman appeared, dressed in her usual wrapper and head tie, her eyes burning with urgency. "Amaka, my child," she said in a trembling voice, "you must listen carefully. Someone close will betray you. Stay watchful. Don't ignore the signs." Amaka reached out, tears filling her eyes. "Mama, who? Please, tell me who." But before her grandmother could answer, a thick black smoke rose between them. Her grandmother's voice echoed one last time. "Stay watchful. Stay alive." Amaka jolted awake, drenched in sweat. Her breath came fast, her hands trembling. She turned to her side. Cynthia was staring at her in the dark, eyes open, unblinking. Amaka gasped, but Cynthia closed her eyes quickly, pretending to sleep. The dream was no longer just a dream. It was a warning. It was past midnight. The hostel was silent, wrapped in darkness. Amaka lay on her bed, her eyes open, afraid to sleep. Then she heard it. Knock, knock, knock. Her body stiffened. The sound came from the door. Soft, deliberate, almost polite. She waited, hoping it would stop, but it came again. Knock, knock, knock. Amaka climbed slowly out of bed, her bare feet cold against the tiled floor. Cynthia didn't move, still turned to the wall, breathing steadily as if she hadn't heard a thing. With trembling hands, Amaka turned the handle. The corridor was empty, but lying neatly on the floor was another folded piece of paper. Her heart raced as she picked it up. She unfolded it with shaking fingers, and her blood ran cold. This time, the words were worse than before. "Trust no one, not even your family." The note slipped from her hands. Because if family couldn't be trusted, then who was left?